So I got into an interesting conversation today at work when one of my colleagues realised that I'm coming up on my 4 year anniversary for starting at this place where I work now. And that is mad. It's the longest job I've ever had. I think most people my age don't really hold jobs for that long. 4 or 5 years is probably the maximum sort of time they do it. It got into an interesting conversation where they started saying to me, well, what do you plan on doing? What's your plan? And I'm like, I'm just kind of happy cracking on with what I'm doing, to be honest. It's funny working where I work because we get a lot of people who are a lot younger than me who've left uni, done 5 years at a company like mine, and then they've moved on to a vendor company or they've done something really big and so forth. And now they're all on sort of 50 grand plus wages and they're driving around in fancy cars and they're still living with their mums and dads because they've got no responsibilities and it's all crazy. And it seems kind of funny to look at that and think that at some point, I was chatting to one the other day and she was saying that she's just come up to 30 and she still lives at home and she doesn't have any kids and she doesn't have a partner and she doesn't know anyone. And she was thinking to herself it was all a panic. And then she thought if she met someone tomorrow, fell madly in love with them, they were the absolute one and she married them, in theory, she'd be living with that person for 70 years and that wouldn't even be, that'd be twice the life she's already led plus 10 years. It's not unrealistic to suggest that she'd live to be 100 based on science, medicine, and all of that stuff. So that conversation, and then the fact I've been here 4 years, just made me sit there and think. He said to me like, "Oh, you not got long left. He said to me, you'll be 50 in like 15 years or whatever. I can't remember what number he said. I guess it'd be 17 years." And I said to him, "Yeah, but I'm also 30 odd years away from retirement because let's face it, it'll probably be 75 by the time I get there. Even if it's not, I'm still 32 years away from it, which is an insane amount of time." So then it made me start thinking, what do I think I'll be doing in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and 20 years? I scribbled down some notes to save me working up the sums on the fly. I worked out in 5 years' time, Boo Boo will be at a primary school, Bosco will be in year 5 where Lamp Up is now, and Lamp Up will be in year 10, meaning she'll be going into basically do the GCSE years at school. So for them, they're like major changes to where they are now because Boo Boo's at nursery, Bosco's in year 1, and Lamp Up's in year 5. So their lives will be completely different in 5 years' time because they'll have moved so far forward in school. For me, I'm hoping the whole aim for me at this point is basically keep plugging away at my job, pay off debt, clear the decks with all of that, and just keep stabbing away at this stuff because 5 years of doing this, I should have at least broken the 300 subscriber mark by then. Hint, hint. Hopefully I'll be in the 300,000 or the 3 million or whatever mark. But let's face it, with a face like this, I'll be lucky if I get to 1,000. But the point is, I still want to be doing stuff like this. I don't ever see me writing it off or giving it up. That said, as I was writing out notes, I thought I've been doing Mature Gamer for 6 years now. Will that live to be 11 years old? Does that seem like something we'll do for another 5 years? And I don't know what the answer is with that. Part of me looked at that and thought, well, I can't see us just stopping. We only meet up every Friday on the internet to do it. But I don't know. It's interesting. It depends how famous Kev gets, I imagine. He's probably, once he can't do it because he's too busy and famous, and Anna's too busy and famous, we'll probably try and plug on for a bit and then we'll probably sack it off because, I don't know, we probably just won't do it. And that's a weird thought because I've been doing that for 6 years. I've been doing that for longer than Bosco's been alive, which again is a bit mad when you think about it. I'm hoping that, 5 years on, I'd be basically, right now, as far as I'm concerned, I'd be more senior in the job I currently do. So I'll be earning more, I'll be doing better. That company will be bigger and stronger and greater and so on and so forth, in part due to hopefully my amazing success or whatever. And then I'm thinking 10 years on, I want to be looking at a position where I'm running my own thing. I'm doing Sheepdog Incorporated or Sheepdog Limited or whatever, and I'm like Mr. Sheepdog, boss man of his own madcap adventure. Because let's face it, most of my videos have been me going, I need an idea. Where is my idea? Somebody's give me an idea. And I'm thinking, surely, 10 minutes from now, 10 minutes, 10 years from now, I should have had one good business idea. I mean, I think I've already had a bazillion good business ideas. It's just they've already been done. I mean, I do that all the time. I come up with an idea, I Google it, and I'm like, damn it. And one day, one of them's got to be a new idea. it's quite mad at this point. I made the note that Bosco would be in year 10 at secondary school, Boo Boo would be in year 5 at primary school, and Lamp Up would be in her second year of university or some sort of equivalent. I'm assuming she'd go to university. That seems mental. At that point, we're basically in a house where it's me, Mrs. Sheepdog, Bosco, and Boo Boo. And at this point, Lamp Up is living somewhere in the country at university, coming home whenever she damn well pleases, and treating this place like a hotel. At that point, that seems insane. By that point, for me, I'd moved out. I hadn't been living at home for years. So if she follows in my footprints and Mrs. Sheepdog's footprints, she might not even live at home anymore, which seems insane considering she's only a 10-year-old right now. So that's exciting. Well, she's 9 at the moment, but that's exciting to think that her life will be mad in 10 years' time. So 15 years, I'm thinking by then I should be in a position where I've got a company that's done something. I should be, I want to be at a point where I'm just comfortable that I'm not living in this house. I'm living in some other house that's like the me and Mrs. Sheepdog house we dreamed of. By this point, Bosco will be at uni. Lamp Up will have left uni. And if she's anything like me and Mrs. Sheepdog, she'll have a kid at this point. So I'll be a granddad, which seems insane. Boo Boo would be doing his GCSEs, I believe, if that's the pattern we were following. Something like that. And again, that seems mad. 15 years is not that long. It's only like Lamp Up's life plus 5 years. And that just seems insane to think about. I think by that point, I'd have either cracked doing online stuff or I'd have given it up entirely and got an entirely new hobby. I can't even imagine what that would be. I feel like by that point I'd be a completely different person. It's infeasible to think that I'd be the same person I am today, and I'd only be 48, so that's insane to think. By 48 I could be a granddad. I'd have one kid at uni, one kid moved out, I'm assuming, and one kid doing their GCSEs, and that just seems mad to think about. 20 years, it'll be Boo Boo at uni, Bosco moved out, probably with a kid. Lamp Up would be nearly 30, basically, I think. If I've worked it out, she'll be 29, which seems mental because she'll be not far off my age. So I imagine she'll be starting her own, podcast, web shows, vlogging on whatever the equivalent is, having her own crises, buying a house, getting cars, having kids. She'll be talking about her own Lamp Up Junior, Bosco Junior, and Boo Boo Junior, and I'll probably have 3 or 4 grandkids by that point, and that just seems mental because by that point I'm only 53, and that's the world seems pretty mad. And I'm assuming, by the way, in all this, that Brexit doesn't destroy us all, and Trump doesn't destroy us all, and whatever else happens doesn't destroy us all, and World War III hasn't occurred. But it's weird to think 20 years from now, that's a long, long way away, but equally it's not that long. And me and Mrs. Sheepdog, if she's still stuck with me at that point and put up with my idiocy and my nonsense, by that point we'll be in a house where our 3 kids have moved off and done their own thing and gone to university or whatever they've done, and they're out and about. And I imagine that it won't go exactly like that. They might be here and coming back and forth or whatever, but I'm hoping by then I'll have ran some sort of business to some sort of successful degree that I can just go, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to let it run itself, and I'm just going to collect the money on the side or whatever. That's the dream, to have a position where it's all running and I'm just taking money and I'm just seeing the world. I could just walk around with a camera going, look, there's a mountain, there's a, I don't know, building, there's a monument, whatever. Part of me feels like a little bit that bore the hell out of me. I'm not the best traveller at the best times. I don't like being outside. The alternative would be hooking myself up to a machine where I just don't have to move and it massages my skin and keeps me from, I don't know, turning bad, and I just sit there watching telly all the time and absorbing all the information. But by then it'll probably all just pop into your brain as it is. I know I'm already convinced there won't be many jobs by that point. So part of my problem with trying to think of ideas is I've got to try to think of something that will work in 20 years' time, because there's no retail, there's no office jobs, everything's AI, everything's robots, there's no manufacturing and all of that stuff. So that's why I'm finding it impossible, because there's no point starting anything now that's going to be obsolete in 10 years. But I don't know, it is weird. I'm thinking more than likely I'll 5 years from now have written some damn books and scripts that have actually been released. 10 years from now, I'm hoping that some of those will actually be made into something and I'll be writing properly and people will actually know my stuff. 15 years from now, I'd like to think I could be appearing at things and talking about stuff I've written and made and be considered a name. And then 20 years from now, I can just sack it all off and go, get lost, all of you. I'm retiring to an island with Mrs. Sheepdog, never to be seen again. And then everyone will just talk about the mysterious sheepdog that just rose and disappeared over 20 years. Because that seems like more than enough time to do some sort of epic rise to fame like that. I mean, I don't know how long George Martin's been writing Game of Thrones, but he's gone a bit mad off the end of that. He just won't finish it now. That's basically the platform I want to follow. Just write like 7 books of an 8-book series and then never write the 8th one and just disappear into the sunset. That'd be perfect. But no, that's at the moment the biggest front-running idea. I'm thinking story, either in book or comic format, the script that we're working on. 5 years to get them somewhere whilst paying off all my debt. Once I'm debt free, 5 years of just plugging away at it to make a proper go of it. From 10 years to 15 years, running that as my proper life. 15 years to 20 years, working on an exit strategy. 20 years onwards, just seeing what happens, either plugging away at it, because that gives me enough space. But going back to my original point where my friend said that she will have 70 years if she met someone tomorrow, I was working out that would be 47 years until 100 at that point, which is longer than I've been alive. That's longer than most. That's 6 years more. Less than the amount of time I'm talking about. So 47 years of whatever I end up doing afterwards is an immense amount of time, and it is insane to think about how long that is. Obviously, there's no guarantees in life. I could be blown up by a bus tomorrow or whatever. Not that buses do that. I lost my words a bit there, but anything could happen, I know. And it's just weird to think that I've essentially got 67 years till I'm 100, and that's a lot of time. I was explaining to my colleague about that today. I was saying to him that it's weird thinking that in 4 years, the company I'm working for has done a lot. We could all do something awesome in that amount of time if we just went and did it. And if we failed, we've still got, if I did that for 4 years, failed, I've still got 63 years, and I could just keep thinking like that. And that's a mad thought. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up because I am going off on one a bit now. I don't really know what the point of this was. It was weird thinking about the fact that I don't really have a plan. I think the plan was just to figure out a plan, and now I'm thinking writing's probably the one, because that's what I'm good at. Everyone's saying that's what I'm good at. At work, it's all I'm asked to do all the time with stuff. People send me stuff to proofread. People send me stuff to write for them, reword this for me, blah, blah, blah. And I keep saying I am working on stuff. I've got all these pads and things I'm working on, but I'm thinking aim to get something done, released properly, done, debt-free, done, go from there, done. So yeah, cool. Let me know your plans. I want to know where you think you'll be in 5, 10, 15 and 20 years. I'm interested. People don't always comment on these, but I genuinely want to read them. I like reading your responses. So I urge you to respond, because that's how we get a dialogue going, and I like reading them. And it gives me ideas. It gives me things to react to and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm interested. I want to know where people see themselves. I'd be really interested in making Kev do one of these, because it'd be interesting to see where he sees his life and channel, everything going in 5, 10, 15 and 20 years time. I know his long-term plan is to just get in a car and drive around the world with Anna while all of his kids disappear. And he is a lot closer to that dream than we are, because I think he's got about 5 years until his youngest is old enough that he could effectively go somewhere and live somewhere and have a life somewhere. So I was going to say I envy him, but I'm enjoying my time. He's had his time with his kids for 18 years. I'm enjoying my bit, so I don't envy him. I'm enjoying the fact I get to do that, and he doesn't get to do that at the moment, and I do. So that's the wrong wording, but it's mad to see. I can see how his plans out and learn from it, which is what I'm basically doing from the place I work at the moment. I'm learning about how they've ran a business, what they've done with a business. I'm thinking about things. I'm looking at other people's projects, and yeah, it's all coming together nicely. I feel like it's almost like an episode of Lost. I'll look at the end of it in 25 years and be like, man, that pieced together nicely. But at the moment, in the midst of it all, I'm a bit like, "Rah." And I'm sure most of you are exactly the same. That's why I want to hear from you. Anyway, subscribe, like, comment, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.